Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at noon.
Whoever did this to my brother, they really need to turn themselves in.
Right now at noon, a man found nearly beaten to death in one Orlando neighborhood. The plea from family members as police offer a new reward in this case. Plus, hundreds gathering at a local church in Central Florida to celebrate the legacies of not one, but two civil rights pioneers. Thank you so much for joining us on this Monday. I'm Lauren Melendez, and we are off to a brand new week with bone-chilling temperatures, okay? If you've got a jacket you got to dig out, I suggest you do it right now. We're going to send it right over to Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos, who can tell from experience this morning. She was out 3 hours with the jacket.
It
You've
was
since
chilly.
shed the layers, but when are we going to see a warm-up?
Well, we have one more night where we have a couple freeze warnings. We have another cold weather advisory. If you had our Pinpoint weather app, you probably just got that notification. The National Weather Service has issued that cold weather advisory for one more night, and then things will really start to warm up. Temperatures out the door right now as you're running those errands, or maybe just spending the day with the family on this Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We're at 52 degrees, still in the 40s north of Gainesville. So right now we're only at 51 in DeLand, 50 in the Villages, 52 in Claremont. Right now, technically the warm spot, if you even want to call the upper 50s at noon warm, that's 57 degrees there in Titusville. But notice the difference. Yesterday at this point, the cold front had already swept through the area. So that is why right now we are running between 12 and 27 degrees colder this morning or this afternoon compared to yesterday, because at that point, the cold front was just about here. So we are going to continue to see another chilly afternoon, with wind gusts still picking up at times between 20 to almost 25 miles per hour. So we had a weather alert day. I'm going to reissue a weather alert day for early tomorrow morning due to the fact that we do have advisories in play as everyone's heading back to work and school. We'll be warming back into the mid-60s, and then the 70s return. We'll have more details on the thawing process Central Floridians can enjoy coming up in just a little bit.
Thank you so much, Candace. Look, if you've been following her forecast from last week, you know this didn't just happen overnight, right? The weekend, too, was filled with winter weather in parts of the Sunshine State. Even the Space Coast Renaissance Fair in Vieira shut down. Look at that wind there. People were struggling just to hold on to their tents as those temperatures dropped about 20 degrees. Then you go to New Smyrna Beach. The Coast Guard had to rescue 2 teens. This was after their 14-foot boat capsized. So wind gusts, my goodness, nearly 50 miles per hour as the pair were found 10 miles offshore and treated for hypothermia. So again, this is no joke. Snow then fell in several parts of the Panhandle, and this was for the second year in a row.
I was really surprised to see this much. Usually you never see this much in Florida, so I was quite surprised to see this much, and it looks like it might be trying to stick a little bit.
So here in Central Florida, Lynx buses, too, they are offering free trips along regular routes to warming centers in Orange and Osceola counties. We've posted details about each shelter location. We got you covered. It's right on the homepage of clickorlando.com. All right, another top story we are following today. It's pretty heavy. We want to go to Osceola County. This gentleman right here in the orange jumpsuit walking up to the microphone, he is accused of shooting and killing 3 men in an apparent random attack. He's going to stay in jail for the time being. Now, those victims were tourists, and deputies say they were targeted at their rental home. So the violent scene unfolded on Saturday at a house on Indian Point Circle that's just off Poinciana Boulevard. Investigators say the victims, 70-year-old Robert Kraft, his 68-year-old brother Douglas, and another man in his 60s, they had just extended their stay at that hotel by 1 day because of car troubles. Deputies found all 3 men shot to death outside of the area. Deputies also said they quickly located the suspect, again, 29-year-old Ahmad Boja, at a house next door. What they don't know is what his motive was for the shooting.
We lost 3 people, which is sad because it's 3 tourists that come here to visit our area. It's cold-blooded. It was premeditated. There was absolutely no issues. There was no conflict between these people. This is just random, and this happened to be the person who lived next door.
Now, this isn't Boja's first run-in with the law. Back in 2021, we reported on his arrest for allegedly shooting at a person and several vehicles. But court records show he was later acquitted by reason of insanity. So for now, he will stay locked up in the Osceola County Jail. He also has no bond. Well, this afternoon, a local family is pleading for help after their loved one was found nearly beaten to death the day after Christmas. Your Paramore County community correspondent Jarrell Baker speaks with the victim's sister as they hope a new reward will finally get them some answers.
Orlando police officers found B.J. Bernard Jackson right here off of West Anderson Street, brutally beaten the day after Christmas so badly that he's still in the hospital recovering from those injuries.
Whoever did this to my brother, they really need to turn themselves in.
Lynn Jackson's only brother is 62 years old, and now she and her family are pushing their neighbors and the community to help find out who's responsible for attacking him so violently.
He lost a teeth in the beating, they lost an eye. You know, on the left side of his face, it's broken real bad.
He's been in the hospital since December 26 when Orlando police found him near West Anderson Street and Westmoreland Drive around 7:30 a.m. that morning. It's just a couple of blocks away from police headquarters. Lynn told me BJ was recently taken off life support. Are you afraid that you may lose your brother?
Yes. If God don't step in, yes.
Police say that Jackson was last seen around 3:30 a.m., 4 hours before the attack. They say that he's known to hang around South Paramore, but they need more information, and they hope that the $5,000 reward noted in this flyer will convince someone to help.
If it happened to one of their family members, you'll want somebody to come and talk, tell what happened, because that's just the right thing to do.
I'm your Paramore community correspondent, Jarrell Baker.
All right, Jarrell, thank you for that report. 12:06 here. President Trump is escalating the standoff with European allies all over Greenland. He is now threatening new tariffs on some countries that oppose his plan. European leaders, however, say the sovereignty of the self-governing territory, that needs to be respected. CBS's Natalie Brand is at the White House with the latest.
A trade war is in no one's interest.
European leaders are pushing back as President Trump doubles down on his push to acquire Greenland, issuing a new threat to impose tariffs of up to 25% on key allies, including Denmark, France, and the UK, until a deal is reached.
Alliances endure because they're built on respect and partnership, not pressure.
Amid calls to de-escalate, Norway's prime minister confirmed he received a message from President Trump saying in part due to the decision to award someone other than himself the Nobel Peace Prize, he no longer feels an obligation to think purely of peace and can now think about what is good and proper for the United States.
We are not going to outsource our national security.
The Trump administration maintains it must control the strategic Arctic island to protect the U.S. from threats posed by China and Russia.
If there were an attack on Greenland from Russia, from some other area, we would get dragged in. So better now, peace through strength, make it part of the United States.
But lawmakers from both sides of the aisle said the standoff over Greenland is making the world less safe, and a bipartisan group just wrapped up a trip to Denmark to try and reassure allies in person.
Part of the point of this trip is to have a bipartisan group of members of Congress listen respectfully to our friends.
Greenland needs to be viewed as our ally, not as an asset.
Over the weekend, thousands of protesters demonstrated in Denmark and Greenland against President Trump's plan, saying the island is not for sale. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
All right, Natalie, thank you. Let's come closer to home. Today is the day that many businesses are going to take a pause to honor the life of the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So this federal holiday, we know, is observed every third Monday in January. Also, here's a quick look at what's closed for today's federal holiday. The post office, for one, that will not be delivering mail. And most banks and government offices, their doors are shut. Most stores, however, are open. And then when it comes to national parks, they're open. However, today there is no free admission. Well, it is one of Central Florida's largest gatherings to celebrate the legacies of two civil rights pioneers. This Martin Luther King Jr. Day marked the 35th annual Arthur Pappy Kennedy Prayer Breakfast. As News 6's Mark Lehman shows us, the tribute is also changing lives.
It was a full house here at First Baptist Orlando, those here honoring the lives of Dr. King and Pappy Kennedy. The event also demonstrating a shared commitment for strengthening the community.
You are love, you bring light.
A morning of fellowship and inspiration. Hundreds of civic leaders, pastors, and residents coming together to honor the legacies of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on a national level and Arthur Pappy Kennedy's impact locally.
I think about him not giving up because his first time at election, he lost, but then he tried again and he ended up winning. So never give up on your dreams, just like Dr. Martin Luther King as well, too. He had dreams as well, too, so never to give up.
In 1972, Kennedy became the first African American elected to serve as an Orlando commissioner, but his service extended far beyond his time in office. He dedicated himself to enhancing the community through public and private partnerships, remaining a tireless champion for the advancement of every citizen.
When you look at Pappy Kennedy, he was a phenomenal leader that lifted up the people here who created the space for so many other leaders to kind of do the work that they're doing in this community today.
During the event, YMCA of Central Florida joined Southwest Orlando Jaycees and the Orlando Mayor's MLK Commission to award $2,000 scholarships to 19 high school students. Organizers say the commitment builds on the foundation set by both civil rights leaders, nurturing the potential of future generations.
And I think the more that we do that to give kids that lift up, it's going to help them be successful in the long run.
In Orlando, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Mark, beautiful story there. Thank you so much. Still ahead here, crosswalk safety is top of mind for one Florida lawmaker. This is amid quite a dangerous reality. Florida has some of the most dangerous intersections in the entire country. So still ahead, we'll tell you how that proposed bill could improve crosswalk visibility around school zones and some busy roads.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Florida Lottery.
Welcome back here at 12:13. So road safety is front of mind in the state, especially Central Florida. To try and save lives, one local lawmaker is pushing to increase TAC at crosswalks all around the state. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez has the story.
This bill is all about improving visibility at crosswalks like this one that are outside of intersections in hopes of adding more flashing lights to make it safer for people crossing.
Orange Blossom. Walk sign is on.
How often do you cross here?
Every day.
Sasha Liz Soto feels better crossing Orange Blossom Trail now that it's lined with flashing beacons.
It was really hard for us to cross because the cars wouldn't stop.
A new bill aims to give others that same sense of security. Representative Jay Alvarez presented it this week.
This is a target data-driven safety enhancement aligning with FDOT's traffic engineering manual and national best practices.
The bill is all about the design and construction plans for certain crosswalks that are located outside of a typical intersection. It would require those design plans to include traffic control devices that have lights to make it safer for pedestrians to cross the streets.
The change would only apply to crosswalks in school zones or a road with a speed limit over 35 miles per hour.
This bill does not mandate the installation of a crosswalk. And only applies prospectively to new crosswalk installations should a local government choose to install mid-block.
A change Soto hopes will help save lives.
The streets are too long and people need to cross, constantly.
In Orlando, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Stephanie, thank you. All right, let's head outside for a live look over downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando camera. It looks beautiful. The skies are blue. But this is one of those days, Chief, where we can tell you it's 50 degrees outside, but perception is reality, right? And the perception is that it is freezing, and some areas really did get to freezing temperatures.
Yeah, I mean, I walked outside really quick, and I saw everyone bundled up at the grocery store. It is going to be a day that you want to keep the layers and the sweaters on, enjoy it, because before you know it, it'll be winter. It'll be summer before you blink. The summer heat will be here. Temperatures are going to be staying in the 50s, though, this afternoon. We're back into the upper 50s throughout the day. And then throughout the rest of the work week, we're going to continue to keep things relatively dry throughout Wednesday. We're going to start factoring into a little more rain with rain chances going up to about 10 to 20% as highs go back to near 70 degrees. So looking at these live cameras, not a cloud in sight from coast to our inland zones through Osceola and Orange County. Again, crystal clear blue skies, big ridge of high pressures in control, bringing that nice stable air mass. You can see where that cold front now has finally shifted completely offshore, now just lingering there over the Bahamas. But this big cold snap is going to be once again lingering for the next day or so. Now, temperatures out the door right now. Notice Ocala, you're still at 49 degrees. We're at 52 in Daytona through New Smyrna. Orlando as well right now. Titusville, technically the warm spot at 57 degrees. But now let's check on that hour-by-hour forecast, though, for tonight.
Your forecast is sponsored by Strata Services.
All right, we are looking at temperatures once again dipping back out down into the 30s, near freezing across our northwestern zone. So although temperatures might be just a touch warmer than this morning, we are still looking at several advisories in place because of this. Models are picking up the opportunity to produce some freeze in Marion, Inland, Flagler, and Volusia County, Northern Lake, and all of Sumter County. Patchy frost can't be ruled out for another morning. So that means we have freeze warnings, or at least freeze warning in effect for Marion, Sumter, and Inland Flagler County. This is going to be for tonight and early tomorrow morning. And because there is still just enough of a wind chill in place, all areas here highlighted in blue once again are under a cold weather advisory, as we still have that wind that will continue to make it feel a little colder. But let's move ahead into the forecast, looking a little further down the work week. As of right now, I do see conditions staying relatively dry throughout at least Wednesday. Then come Thursday and Friday, we start getting a little more question marks in the forecast, primarily because of this. You can see there's a little bit of rain and scattered showers and developing just offshore. Models are picking up the possibility of a disturbance starting up just off the east coast there, and some of that could actually bring in a couple scattered showers along our ocean breeze. So models are picking up a couple little fast-moving showers, especially along the coast, and then things will improve, though, as we head into the weekend. But as we head into the weekend, it's going to start getting warmer. Highs today, again, 58 degrees. We're going to be still below average for one more day, and then notice what happens come Wednesday, Thursday, into Friday. We'll be right back to normal, bumping up those rain chances as of now just a little bit, as temperatures could even be getting close to near 80 degrees, if you can believe it, by Saturday. Lauren.
Oh, I can. I got the warm welcome to Orlando, up and down. Thank you so much. All right, student loan borrowers, I want you to do this. Breathe a sigh of relief. You got a little more time before the Department of Education begins garnishing your wages, but not much. So coming up, we're going to tell you what federal officials say prompted the pause. Welcome back. The Department of Education is hitting pause on its plans to garnish wages of student loan borrowers that are in default. So the department is also delaying the seizure of tax breaks from those who have student loan debt. The collections were set to start this month, but in a statement, education officials say the temporary delay, it'll give them time to implement reforms to the student loan system. But here's the thing, it is unclear how long those garnishments will be paused. It is a big day in the sports world, especially for the Miami Hurricanes, as they get ready for a shot at a national championship. The team punched its ticket to the big game after beating Ole Miss in the Fiesta Bowl. So tonight, the Hurricanes take on 15-0 Indiana Hoosiers. It is Miami's first trip to the national champs since 2003. And I have one friend who's constantly screaming, "Go Canes!" So this is for him. Kickoff is set for 7:30 tonight at Hard Rock Stadium. And we also want to know, how much would you pay for a ticket to the College Football Playoff Championship? It is our poll of the day. And so far, most of you like the free 99 option. It says you would pay $0 to maybe $500. That's about 58%. 500 to 1,500, 28%. And then 1,500 and up, all the way up to $2,500, 14%. Many of you not going for that. 2,500 to 5Gs. $0. Yeah, I heard Candace smirk in the background. Head on over to clickorlando.com to let us know if you would shell out the big bucks. And check out our primetime lineup as well on News 6 Plus. Matt and Ginger have a new take on the day's news. That's at News 6 tonight, starting at 9. Meteorologist Jonathan Keggis will answer your weather questions, too, at 9:30. And then watch the late news an hour earlier. It all starts tonight on News 6 Plus. And, of course, you can download our free streaming app. Search WKMG in your smartphone or your smart TV's app store. It is also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. All right, before we let you go, another look at our Launch Credit Union port camera we're looking at the beach. And not a good day to dip your toe out there in the water. Just ogle it. It's pretty. We'll talk about the forecast after this with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campbell.
All right, let's look at those next couple of days as temperatures are going to be on the chilly side for another afternoon. We're up to 58 degrees. That is it, folks. It's as warm as we're going to get today. Then temperatures will be below average for one more day on Tuesday. We do have cold weather advisories. We have a freeze warning in effect. Now that freeze warning is not as widespread as this morning. It's going to be just for you guys in Marion, Sumter, and inland Flagler County. But no matter where you are in Central Florida, you're going to be feeling that chill for one more day. One more morning as kids are heading to that bus stop. You got to peel them out of their blankets. But we are going to be warming right back up to near 80 degrees by the weekend.
I was watching those numbers like a hawk. I'm just glad they don't start with a 2. Oh my goodness. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay warm. Our next newscast is at 3. We'll see you soon.